Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead and Happy New Year. This is a brand new year for us and hopefully we'll all be healthy and happy and wonderful. Today's video is going to be very much on self-reliance and emergency preparedness. You and I have lived through the past few months where we have been bombarded with threats to our safety and our well-being. So what we're going to do today is quickly go through a list. I have a couple of pages of notes. I've been researching this for about the past 2 months. And I'm going to go through some safety issues that are a little bit concerning. They have been concerning to Jim and me, and so we figure that they're probably concerning to you as well. And we're going to talk about some things that we can do to mitigate some of these threats that we are facing. And we invite you to comment on the video and add more things that you are doing to safeguard your health and well-being. We live in very perilous times. There are fraudsters and scammers who would just love to get into our lives and dig around and strip us of our resources, and they're getting smarter and smarter. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. And the first one is black plastic. 6 weeks ago or so, a study was published in the journal Chemosphere about by some researchers who randomly selected a whole lot of black plastic things, items of all kinds. And the things that they focused on were food containers, utensils, kids' toys, sushi trays, and they even did Halloween costumes. There's a pirate beard that has black fuzzy plastic as the beard. And they checked all of those things, hundreds of things, for bromine. And what they found was actually pretty scary. 85% of the things that they tested contained this chemical bromine. And bromine is not considered safe for consumption at any level. And so as soon as the study was published, a lot of articles started hitting my news feed. Now, I don't watch cable news anymore. I'm disgusted with everything. But I do go through my news feed every day, and then I can pick which articles I wish to read. And I'm always on the lookout for things that affect us as a community. And so the black plastic was one of those. And people were advocating for ditching all of your black plastic, immediately clean out your kitchen, make sure you don't have anything, especially with food prep, that is in black plastic. Well, as you can see here, I have a whole stack of these little food dishes, just the right size for taking lunches, but I was using them to grow microgreens, and here are their lids right here. And then I went through my kitchen drawer and found a whole bouquet of black plastic implements in my drawer. But I never did get around to throwing them away. And then just a few days ago, the authors of that study, they sent a correction to the publisher and it was published. Now, apparently what happened was they made a fairly significant math error in their calculations, but they also stated that their conclusions remained unchanged, that these are not safe. 85% of them contain this chemical. Now, we should point out that it is not the manufacturer of these items that is at fault. Rather, what they had used was recycled plastics from electronics. And the plastic in electronics contain this bromine, which is used for brominated flame retardant. And the idea for our electronic devices is to put this flame retardant in the plastic so that they don't catch fire. And once that plastic is recycled, it carries that bromine with it into new products. And so that correction was published, and then several days after that, the journal Chemosphere was dropped from, it's called delisting. It was a polite way of saying they were dropped from the Web of Science for some inappropriate practices in their journal. And I know how heart-wrenching this is. As a former professor at a couple of research institutions, I also had to publish, publish, publish. And so you work really, really hard. Well, for these authors, I admire them for admitting their error, but then to have the journal that they published in to sort of be discredited in some regard had to be a big blow. So I feel badly for them. But what does that mean for us in terms of the black plastic that we have around the house? Well, we all need to make our own decisions on that. I think it is enough of a warning that Jim and I have decided we are going to ditch all of this black plastic and replace it with new stuff. So you need to make your own decisions on that. Just remember that bromine at any level is not safe for consumption. So I'm not going to grow food for our house in it, nor am I going to work with our food prep with these things. So that's the issue as we have settled it in our household. The second thing I want to talk about is food recalls. We have been inundated with food recalls. The threats for which the food recalls were done were causing Listeria, E. coli, Salmonella, and the latest one is norovirus. And so some of the foods that we lived through having a recall on, and some are still ongoing today: bagged salads, deli meat, onions on McDonald's hamburgers, cucumbers, and very recently oysters in 15 states, and just the other day Lay's potato chips recalled their plain 13-ounce packages of chips because a milk product was left off of the ingredients that could cause severe allergies in some people. And so what is going on with our food? Is our food processing getting worse? Well, I actually read an article where the research journalist, asked that question and talked to a number of experts in the field of food safety. And what they explained was that no, our food is getting safer to eat. What is happening is that their methodologies are changing. They're getting more strict. They have new technologies to help test things and new ways of communicating. So whether or not we believe that is irrelevant, it's happening, and we need to be very careful. So one of the things that Jim and I are doing to mitigate the threat of that is we no longer buy deli meat or bagged salads or fruit that has been pre-cut even at the store itself. We focus again on basic foods that we prepare mostly right here, and of course the cucumber threat, we would fall prey to that because I get cucumbers from the store, but we can grow our own, hopefully maybe this coming season. So I'm going to give you 2 websites where you can check to see what the current recalls are. You know, as consumers, we need to be smarter than ever before. We need to upgrade our level of consumer knowledge. And it's a pain in the neck, frankly, because it interferes with, from my perspective, with other things that I'm wanting to learn about and do, having to have this whole new learning curve of updating, becoming a smarter consumer. But you know, when your life and health and well-being depends on it, it's what you do. So we are now prioritizing becoming smarter consumers. And some of the things that we're presenting today, I hope, will send all of us down the path of being smarter about some of the things that we do. So these 2 websites will tell you what the recalls are. One is from the FDA and the other is www.foodsafety.gov. And I will put these links in the description below this video. The third thing is probably the thing that is the scariest to us, and that is all of the threats that we are being bombarded with now from scammers and fraudsters. And they only want one thing, and that's what their livelihood depends on. Their livelihood depends on getting a hold of the results of our livelihood. They want our resources, our money. And this is no longer the day that some of us remember when we were getting emails from a Nigerian prince asking for money, and the email message was full of broken English, bad grammar, spelling errors. Those days are gone. The fraudsters and scammers of today are really, really smart. They are gifted artists that elicit trust and emotional bonding with you if you give them the chance. And the idea here is that we can't even give them the chance because they're very, very clever. And we might think that we're sitting here at home and we're really smart, or at our workplace, and that we're smart and we would never be hoodwinked into anything that anyone would try to get at us. And yet, some of the stories that I know from people that we know, and some of the stories that I'm reading online, these aren't dumb people that get hoodwinked into this. They are regular, smart, savvy people. And why are they able to do that? Well, one of the articles that I read suggested that, but these scammers and fraudsters now recognize that trying to work with computer code is getting more and more challenging, trying to hack right into to where we have our money and our resources. And so what they have discovered is the weakest link. And so they're going after the weakest link. And what is that weakest link? It is human nature. It is contacting us in some way and tricking us into revealing things that are personal that will then allow them to bypass having to hack into our accounts because we've given them enough information. In order for us to not give them a chance to even talk to us in person or mess with us in personal ways, and it's attacks from email and from messaging, texting, and from phones. And so those are the things that we need to be really careful about and lock them down as much as possible. But here are some examples that I have picked up over the past couple of months that have happened and are very successful. And also seniors are targeted, and some areas of the country are also targeted. So fake invoices. You'll receive a fake invoice in your email demanding that you settle your account, or they're going to turn you over to the creditors. And they'll give you a phone number to call to address the situation. Don't do it. Then there's the "we know where you live" attack. And this is where you receive in your email or a text message a picture of your very own house. And then there's a threat. "We know where you live. Either you pay us so much money, or we are going to release your private information, things you don't want anybody else to know, that we found out by hacking your computer, and we'll release that unless you send us money." Or some of them even threaten personal violence against you if you don't comply. And there's always a phone number, or there's always a link that you have to click to settle it. So don't do that. Then there are the celebrity scams. And this is when you are contacted by a celebrity, or so you think, because AI can now mimic anybody's voice and speaking patterns. And you are asked for money to contribute to their philanthropic foundation. And sometimes there's even some romance that is involved in that. You think you're even falling in love and it's being reciprocated. And we know people who have been scammed with this, and they're bright, smart, wonderful people. And yet these people just know human nature. They know the triggers in your own language when you are talking to them. By language, I mean your own speech patterns and in your responses to them, that they can exploit and get right at having you trust them. So then the one that Jim and I both received over and over during this past holiday season was, it starts off something like, "We have a package for delivery, but it lacks some piece of your address or whatever. Call this number so we can make sure that this delivery gets to you." Whew, stay away from those. Then these guys use number spoofing, which means that they may be out somewhere in Timbuktu, but when their call comes into your phone, it has your area code on it. That's number spoofing. And so you are more likely to answer a phone call that comes from your own area code because you think it's local, maybe somebody that you know. Then another one is you get a call from your local area code saying that a loved one is in serious trouble and you need to send money immediately and right now, and here's the phone number or whatever. And that sense of urgency just turns you upside down and you think that somebody really is in trouble. You can't take the chance, and so you respond and they got you. Then there's the online do-it-yourself repairs. You know, about 3 years ago when I've had 4, some of you have seen my truck out in the driveway. We've shown it a couple of times in our videos, and that's my 4th great big red turbocharged diesel truck. And I've had 4 of them. And this last one, not the one I have now, but the one previously, I had it for 10 years and I was getting ready to sell it. And it popped a tiny little pinhole in the radiator and started squirting out a stream. Well, we live 45 miles from the nearest repair, so I needed to get that patched so that I could get it into the repair shop. So I went online and said, how do you repair da-da-da-da-da on this model in this year of Ford truck? And so a forum popped up. I went onto that forum, stated what I needed. People responded. I was able to fix my radiator so that I could get it in and then get a brand new radiator. Well, in today's world, if you type in a search for, I need to repair such and such, you'll get a lot of responses, and many of them will be scammers. And they will be knowledgeable. They will even spoof a website that looks very similar to something that you trust. And so you'll click on it, you'll have an online conversation back and forth with them. They will send you a README document. You click on that and you've been had. So be very, very careful with those. And then let's see what else here. So you get a call from your bank and you feel that it's legitimate, and the message goes something like this: your account has been compromised. You need to immediately hang up and then dial *72 and this 10-digit number that we're going to give you. And if it's not *72, it could be **21. And then you plug those codes in, one of those codes in with a 10-digit number, and that will stop access to your account. So you panic and you do it, and what you've just done, which you may not know, is you've just forwarded all of your calls to the scammer, because that 10-digit number is their number. And then there's always the one where you get a notification from the IRS that you owe back taxes and you need to pay up right now or you're going to be charged with tax evasion. Don't pay any attention to those. Don't respond in any way. If you're worried, call the IRS directly. We have a lot of prevention things I'm going to share with you in just a second here. Then there's that age-old trick where they call and let it ring once. And you hear it and you get to your phone and they've already hung up. And you wonder, I wonder who that was that just called me. And so you look on your phone and you find that number and you call it to find out who it was. Don't do that. Then there's notifications from Gmail or other providers that your account has been compromised and that you need to act immediately. And one of the articles that I've read dozens of articles in the past 2 months, probably more than dozens. A very professional scammer alert person was attacked by this, and it was so clever. He said that he was actually tempted to do it because a message came from Gmail, supposedly, and then it was followed up by a phone call, and then the same thing happened 2 days later. And he said that what you need to do is to don't fall for it. What you need to do is check your account yourself. And I will give you the URL that you can go directly to Google, and this is for Gmail. Billions of us have those free Gmail accounts all over the world. And so you can check your account yourself by going to myaccount.google.com/ I forgot what it is. / notifications. And so I'll put that link below too. I checked my account this morning, and this piece of information just came in my news feed this morning. And that's how I was able to get this link for all of us. And I went there and checked on my account. And in November, they had contacted me 4 different times saying, your Google account was changed. Was this you? And then I checked yes. It didn't ask for any personal information or anything else, and I had just changed it so I knew it was legitimate. And I had been contacted 4 times, so it will give you a list of any threats to your account that are legitimate. So how can we prevent this stuff from happening? Well, here are some general things that we can do. And again, this is collected from a whole lot of different articles over the past couple of months. First of all, on your smartphone, go into your contacts today and clean out all old contacts. I did that a week or so ago, and I got rid of 30 different contacts in my contact list on my iPhone. And then what happens is when the call comes into your phone, it will either show the contact name from your contact list, or it will say unknown caller. Sometimes it will say, what does it say?
It just says scam possible.
Yeah, it says possible scam, likely scam. That's the term that it uses, likely scam. So there are different things that we need to do. So I never answer a call anymore unless it is from someone that I know. And if it is an unknown caller, I don't answer. I just let it go to voicemail. Then they can leave a message and I can check it later to be sure that it's valid. And then if it's a likely scam, I don't answer it either, but I can report it. And so that's what we need to do. It says block and report calls that show likely scam as the caller. Then we've been told this for years, and it's never more important now because the Chinese hackers are coming back stronger than ever before and much more widespread. And what they're now saying is that messages are not safe, email is not safe anymore, unless there is end-to-end encryption. And we'll get into that in just a second too, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So we just need to be very, very careful and not put any personal information ever in an email or a message. And the highest recommended ones across all of the articles that I read were for text messaging was WhatsApp and Signal. I'm not familiar with Signal, but my family, my siblings, all 9 of us have been using WhatsApp for our family communications for about 3 or 4 years. And it has end-to-end encryption, which means that it can't be broken into or captured because it is encrypted from one end all the way to the other end. And if I'm sending a message to someone from my Apple phone to their Apple phone, then it is end-to-end. But if I'm trying to send a message from my phone to someone who has a different brand of phone, it is not end-to-end encryption. WhatsApp is end-to-end, Signal is end-to-end. Refuse to be rushed. These scammers want you to act, and they want you to act right now, and they present a sense of urgency that it has to be done. And so sometimes that is very distracting, and we wonder, do I need to do that? And we panic just a little bit. Don't panic, and don't be rushed. And check yourself. Get off the phone and call whatever they said you needed they needed the money for from a company or whatever. Check that company directly. Never pay it. They will often request gift cards because gift cards it's hard to trace them, and they can't be refunded by your bank if you get scammed through your bank. So don't ever pay anything with gift cards when you are asked. Never click on a download or a link or call a phone number in a suspicious email. Go online and read the security for the companies and for the banks that you deal with. I just went to every one of our financial institutions and UPS, and we live out in the hinterland, and so we get a lot of deliveries from people. And so I wanted to know what their security protocols were. So I went to every one of them and read through what they will do and what they will not do in terms of contacting a customer. And they all say that they will never ever ask you for your account number over the phone. And so that is good to know. And then they will give you security options that you may not know about that you can do. And I'll get to that in just a second as well. Know what the exact URL is for your financial institutions and for people that you do business with a lot. Like I said, we do a lot of business with, we receive a lot of deliveries from UPS, which stands for United Parcel Service. And their official URL is ups.com. And on their security page, they said, do not pay any attention to any kind of a message, an email message you get if the URL is unitedparcelservice.com. See how they spoofed that? The real one is UPS, but the fake scammer one is United Parcel Service. And then they will spoof the website to where it looks exactly like UPS. And then if you get anything like that and you press on it, it'll look legitimate, but you can check the URL to know that it is a scam. So know your URLs. Then check directly with companies that you get calls from. I had last week or a couple of weeks ago, a call came into my phone and the little thing at the banner at the top said that it was from our health insurance company. And so I answered the phone. And it was a very nice gentleman who was trying to set up an appointment for a healthcare worker to come into our home to give us an in-home health check and check on all of our medications, and could he set up that appointment. And he was very nice, and I was very nice back, and I said, you know, I don't know that you are legitimate, even though it says that the phone call came in from, and I said the name of our company. I said, I'm going to call them directly and verify. And he said, that is just fine. We get this all the time. The number you will find is on, the number you need, you will find on the back of your health card. So you can call that number, and then you can especially look for, and he gave me the home visits. And I did that, and I spoke with someone directly, and it was legitimate. And it was, I didn't mind that I did that extra step, because someone coming into our home, wow, that was really be intrusive if that was a scammer. And so that's how you do it. You can talk to the scammer and say, I'm going to check directly, and then do that direct check. And then I have already told you about, don't respond to a text that says that your Gmail has been compromised or that your Apple account has been disabled. Check with companies directly and don't pay any attention to texts or messages that you get. Then the other thing is to strengthen digital security. One of the things that I struggled with over the past 2 months as I read all of these articles, especially on the digital security threats that we're all facing, is the jargon. And oh my gosh, it was like learning a new language. I didn't understand it. I didn't get what they were talking about, all of those abbreviations. Well, you know, that's part of what we need to do to improve ourselves as savvy consumers. And so I just went on the trail of some of these things I wanted to know and found out what they are. So in strengthening our digital security, I had to deal with, it said turn on 2FA or MFA. What's that? And we have an option with many of the companies that we deal with now to turn on two-factor authentication. I used to be a little bit disgruntled because every once in a while when I was logging into my account, when our bank would send me that 6-digit code, because I'd have to then look at my iPhone or look at my email and get the 6-digit code and plug it in. Well, now I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful that our bank does that. But now the problem is, because there are so many threats to our email and messaging accounts, that even those 6-digit numbers can be picked up by people who may know how to do that sort of thing electronically. And so And besides that, previously the bank only did it randomly, but we can now turn that on to do it with every single time we log in, which I have done. But I've taken it a step further. I have even done the MFA, which is the multiple factor authentication. And in order to do that, you need to have a really good password manager. So now is the time for all of us to invest in a good password manager. So now when I log in to my financial institution, I give them my password and a screen comes up and I have my choice. They're going to do a secondary authentication, but I can choose which one. I can choose either to get an email message or a text message or this third party, this multiple factor authentication that goes along with my password manager. And I choose that one because what happens is it generates a 30-second one-time password. And so I use my password, and then my manager takes care of everything, my password manager. I just hit the login and then hit my manager, and it plugs in my username, then my password, and then up comes this third thing, which is a 30-second one-time use login, and it automatically puts that in, and then I can get into my bank. And right now, those are extremely safe. The two password managers that are highest recommended is the brand new one that has just recently come out. If you have a Mac computer and run it on Sequoia, then you have it automatically. It's a free password manager. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, as long as you have 18 or higher operating system on it, then you also have it free. The other one is 1Password, the number 1 and then password. That's another company that does password protection. So it's time for all of us to invest in a password manager to help us that we can do multiple factor authentication. So I'm over time that I usually like to have our videos run only about 20 minutes, but this was important information. There is really an important article that I picked up, gosh, it's been about 6 weeks ago, and I felt like it had it had 5 or 6 ideas. It says to make yourself scam proof in 45 minutes or less. And I'm going to put the link to that article so you can check on it yourself. So overall, we just need to be very wise about what we are doing. We need to up our ability to be an informed consumer. We need to learn some of the jargon if necessary to understand what we need to do. So we need to be sure that we are looking up information for whatever brand of smartphone we have or computer that we have so that we can, there's one more thing on iPhone I want to just tell you about really quickly. And I'm sure all phones have this. I just know how to do it on my iPhone. You can go directly to settings, and after you hit settings, go down to general, and then if you scroll all the way down, blue at the bottom, under general, it says shutdown. So if you are in the process of being scammed or somebody is attacking your phone, you can go and shut down your phone immediately. So that's a good thing to know as well. So thank you for sticking with us, even a little bit of overtime. There's so much to learn, so much more that we have to learn too, to keep ourselves safe. So I hope we can do this together and help one another, give suggestions, and we're going to come back once in a while when new threats have arisen and do a safety alert. That if Jim and I become concerned about some things, we pretty much figure that most of the rest of you will be concerned too. And we want everyone in our community to be safe and healthy and well. So thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you very soon in this new year with more videos.